And we're back, so let's do a quick little Q&A. We just did a test of the Comica mic. Where's my box for that so we can show it? Here it is, the Comica mic. $188 microphone compared to the $800 microphone that I'm normally using for the with the Sennheiser. I shouldn't say microphone, the whole microphone pack, the whole wireless live pack. The Sennheiser is obviously a premium product compared to the Comica. Comica is coming in not at a bargain basement price, but a really inexpensive price for a UHF wireless mic. Let's take a look at what's going on in the chat system here. I see Tim Beaton's got a question up here. Remember, guys, if you have a question for me, do put at PhotoJoseph in front of it. That puts a little red thing on my screen like that, so then I know that there's a question for me. But I did happen to see this one from Tim. What do you think of the 2.4 gigahertz wireless systems? 2 thumbs down. Can't stand them. Every single one I've tested, even though the companies swear that there is perfection, there is no dropouts, they're flawless. Yeah, as long as you have perfect line of sight. You cannot put a wireless pack on your back that is a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter and expect to get more than about 3 feet away from the camera. It's ridiculous. I've tested a bunch of them. I can't, it always drops out. There was one company that I'd worked with that had sworn up and down that this was not going to be a problem, and I get the product and it was a problem. It's, I've yet to see a 2.4 gigahertz system that works. There's digital mics. It's great for line of sight. That's it. That's where it ends. So if you can't do perfect line of sight, forget about it. Which means you can't even really hide it in a clothes. I mean, you can kind of get away with putting a shirt over it. So if you were going to wear it on the front of your belt here and put a shirt over it, you might be able to get away, but then you'd see the pack. But no, nope. Okay, let's see here. Ron Hoffman asking, is my roll-up door metal or fiberglass? It is... I guess it's fiberglass, isn't it? Yeah, the door is fiberglass with a metal frame, but the building itself is entirely made of metal. All right, let me scroll up here and see if there's anything I missed earlier. See, these other questions we already addressed during the main live show. And let's see here. Sharp, oh, you guys were talking about the wireless frequency. So yeah, there might be a version of this that's sold for Europe. I obviously got this in the US, and so this is a US version with the 520 to 534 megahertz range, which seems like a narrow range. It seems like the legal UHF range is bigger than that, but I don't know offhand. If that range is not legal in Europe, then I would hope that they are also selling a unit in Europe that is within the legal range, but clearly that is something you absolutely 100% want to check. So for the guys who are watching live, you were hearing, well, even those who aren't watching live, you were hearing the results of this test. I want to know what you think of it and tell me, because I could kind of hear it, but I want to know what's going on. Sharpex, how about if you plug in your Sennheiser mic into the Comica, then quality should be the same except for the dropouts? That's a fair point, and that I wouldn't say it should be the same. There is still processing. Yeah, Ryan's saying I could test that right now. Sure, let's test that right now. There is still processing that's going on in the transmitter and receiver, so I wouldn't go with quite it should be the same, but let's just try it. Okay, so how am I going to do this without? I'm just going to drop out audio for a moment. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm going to drop out audio. Okay. So okay, Ryan was bringing up the wrong mic. There we go. Now the Comica mic is on. I'm on the Comica now, not the Sennheiser. Oh, okay, so this is the Sennheiser microphone on the Comica pack. So I don't know, you guys tell me. It does sound quieter in my ears, but we already know that the levels we're getting out of this are not the same. But you can tell me now if other than the levels, if the audio quality is sounding the same. I can barely hear myself in my headphones. So Ryan's now playing with the, are you playing with the EQ? What are you doing over there? He just turned the EQ on. All right, so we've got an EQ on. That looks like the noise gate is off, but yeah, so this is the Sennheiser microphone on that pack. Now, that said, I suppose if this sounded really good to you and the transmitter was good enough, then you could still save money by buying the better Sennheiser microphone and plugging it into the Comica pack. It does fit, though. That is the nice thing. It is a Sennheiser type connector, which is just a standard 3.5mm connector, but it has the screw-in collar to hold it in place, which is really, really good. That's something you definitely want. Okay, I'm going to go back to my Sennheiser pack, though, so let's switch. And there we go. All right. I'm going to get this thing off of me. Okay, so good question. Thank you very much for asking that, and hopefully that gave you some information about it. Let's see what else is going on in here. Where were we? I lost something. There it is. Ron Hoffman, too much interference on 2.4 gigahertz. Yes. Sean Mark Dipper, hello. Have you come across, I guess, any Bluetooth microphone solutions for iOS Filmic Pro that now accept Bluetooth mics? I haven't found any besides the weird, round, clunky Sony mics. I have not. I haven't been looking, but no, I haven't seen anything. Nothing's come across my door that I should be interested in checking out. So, sorry. So what he's talking about is you can, using Filmic Pro on your iPhone, you can use a Bluetooth microphone. So if you've got your Apple EarPods or whatever, any Bluetooth mic, you can use that. Obviously, that's not a really high quality mic. So the hope is that there will be a really good quality mic that works over Bluetooth that will connect that way. But that would be isn't that roughly the same range, 2.4 gigahertz range, which means it's going to be susceptible to the same kind of dropouts, I would imagine. You know, a little drop here and there is fine when you're on a phone call. Not so cool when you're recording audio for a show. Let's see here. Ron says, signal's better when you're transmitting through the roll-up. Well, when I was my back to the wall, that was pure line of sight, because that was through the open door. I can't show you that, but that's through the open door. So I could literally see the receivers on the wall here. So that was not through the fiberglass door. Alrighty, let's see here. In-depth video wants me to plug into the headphone jack. All right, fine. Let's do that. Let me plug this thing back in and, no mic in. Let's get the right input on here. Let's get that plugged into the microphone input on there. And come on, get in there. There it is. And let's plug this on here. All right, Comica is up. I see that. So we are going to, actually, Ryan, go ahead and put the Sennheiser back on for a moment. And I'm going to swap out the mic. So we're going from the output jack to the headphone jack. Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. That was like massive blasting, which that's kind of scary. I wonder when you plug in the headphones how loud that actually is. Oof. Oof. Okay, that was definitely not good. So we won't be doing that again. Alrighty, let's see here. Tim Beaton, where'd it go? Tim Beaton says 470 to 694 megahertz max in Europe. 50 megawatt ERP is okay in France, where I now live, so should be okay for you. There you go. Cool, excellent. And bhpho has a carrot, excellent. Sound is very flat from the Comica with either mic, Need Bob's Help says. Oh, that is interesting. See, I told you that the pack itself has something to do with it. Also, the EQ, to be fair too, the EQ, Ryan, did you copy the same EQ settings over to the Comica? When I had, okay, for the most part, yeah. So the Comica settings should have been relatively the same as the Sennheiser settings. So yeah, so that's some processing in the pack itself. Sharbeck says, I think the Comica mic sounds quite okay as long as there aren't dropouts in the signal. Seems okay when in line of sight. I guess the lack of optimal channel interference scanner might be an issue. Yeah, I mean, you do have 25 channels to choose from, so hopefully you can find something in there. But yeah, it's, let's see, what is it, 520? Yeah, they cycle through the megahertz spectrum there for 25 stops along the way. I think it's really important to not only compare the two, which is obviously what we're doing here, but to listen to the Comica on its own and determine, is it okay? Am I okay with that sound? Especially remembering that if you're not doing it live, you can always EQ things later. You can always EQ it in post, you can do a little noise removal and so on. So as long as the sound is good enough, then that's what matters. And then of course you have the interference issue. So if you don't have, if your range is good enough, if you're not gonna do anything where you're getting the dropouts, then maybe the Comica mic is just fine. Burns says, missed the show. Sorry, Burns, you'll have to watch the replay later on today. Slightly off topic. Okay, cool. Matt Diver says, has your XR mixer been reliable and any extra features you would like to have? That's a great question. So my XR, I've got the XR16 from Behringer. It is an incredible piece of machinery. The only problem that I have had with it, and I need to send it in for service while it's still under warranty before the warranty expires and they charge me for it, it's just hard to get rid of it for a while and it's got to deal with it. Anyway, the one problem that I've had consistently is the recording capability. It records to a USB memory stick. Every once in a while, it drops 5 seconds and 11 frames of audio. And it's not silent, it's just gone. So I will sync up my audio that's recorded separately with the audio that's recorded on the live show, and suddenly it's 5 seconds, 11 frames out of sync. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes it happens at the beginning of the show, sometimes more towards the end. It could be anywhere in there, but it happens, I'd say, maybe like 1 out of every 3 recordings, I get that. I've done a bunch of stuff, talked to Behringer a whole bunch. They have concluded that it's something wrong with the unit, so I need to send it in for service, which again, I got to do before the warranty expires. That is the only problem that I've ever had with it. Extra features that I would like. The feature that I would like the most this doesn't have does exist in the step up, so it's something that you could buy if you wanted to go spend a little bit more money. But the the software is recording, so let me take a look, we'll take a look at the cipher here. The software is recording right now, and it records a stereo file, but I can set the left and right channel to be anything off of my mixer here. So let's see, that is channel 2, the right channel I'm gonna leave alone. The left channel I can play with. So the left channel here, you see it's set to channel 2 right now. I can use it, set it to different buses. I can use the main in or out. I can set that to whatever I want. So that means that I can record 2 unique inputs, one on the left channel, one on the right channel. So for today's show, I was recording the Comica on one channel and the Sennheiser on another. Great. What I would like is to be able to record all of the channels independently. That's something that exists on the higher end hardware, not on this one. That's the only feature that I go, ooh, I really wish I had that. Otherwise, this thing is remarkable. Keep in mind, I am not an audio guy. I look at this stuff and it confuses the heck out of me. I've brought people in who are audio experts to help us get this tweaked, to help us optimize this, to make it sound as good as it does. That wasn't me. So it's a complex device, but it is incredibly powerful, and I absolutely love it. Alrighty, let's see here. Where are we? Tim Beaton, suspect that proper diversity setups might be better for drop-offs. Yeah, it's, you know, we can talk about proper testing all day long and, oh, it needs to be this type of environment, but in reality, the environment changes. You're always in somewhere different. And so this is my environment, right? This is what I've got here. And if I want to do a show outside, right, if I want to step outside, I need my microphone to not drop out because I've walked through those doors right there. The Sennheiser, when I'm out in that area, is fine. I have to get pretty far before the Sennheiser starts to drop out. The Comica didn't get that far at all before it started dropping out. So yes, you may say, well, that's not fair. It's a metal room. It's my metal room, man. This is where I do my work, so that's just the way it is. That's my test. Somebody else could test this in their styrofoam house, and it sounds perfect. They get so far away. There's no interference. Great, good for you. That's not the environment that I live in. In short, Burns is asking, how did the Comica stack up? You guys, what do you guys think? What is your general opinion of the Comica? I've heard it sounds flatter than the Sennheiser, even with a Sennheiser mic, but that can be tweaked, that can be fixed. It's a little on the quieter side. We know that. We've maxed out the volume on the Comica, and it still feels like we could really have a little bit more in there. It does have some nice features that that I like. The audio. The headphone jack on the receiver, I think, is really, really cool. I think it's a very nice feature. And on the transmitter, you have both a line-in and a microphone-in jack, which I think you can only use one or the other. I'm pretty sure you can't use both at the same time. It's, you know, it's definitely not as good as the Sennheiser, but I'd say it's worth the $188 if you want to, you know, if you can spend more, do spend more. It's one of those things where you have really good equipment. It's going to last you forever. But yeah, I guess that's kind of where it's at. But for a bargain price that it is, it's not bad at all. It is not bad at all. Jeremy, big thanks to you and your video and for your videos. Well, you're quite welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Where do we go here? Oops, let's bring this comment back up in here. Sean Mark Nipper, I received my camera back from repair. Oh, the GH5, excellent. And since they completely replaced the board, I have to go through and reset it. Luckily, I have an amazing course to help with the menus. Oh, look at that. Look, he's selling my course for me. Look at that. I appreciate that. He's talking about the GH5 training course. If you own a GH5, you need this course. This is a complete video training course for the Lumix GH5. It clocks in at over 5.5 hours of training content on the GH5. It is fantastic. Go to gh5training.com and you too can have yourself a copy of that. Thank you very much, Sean. Love the plug. Burns Tech dropouts would piss me off and I'd throw it out. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're getting dropouts, that's on a recorded thing. On a live thing, it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's a recorded thing. You're going to rebroadcast it. But when you're actually recording, you got someone on set doing an interview, that is unacceptable. You can't have dropouts. So you just have to make sure that you are using the equipment within the range, within the tolerances of what it's made for. And we know that the Comica can't get as far away and doesn't put up with interference quite as well as the Sennheiser does. Okay, I think that, Ezra calling Sean a teacher's pet, that's funny. Look, they're going to bring that up on screen. Oh, that is so funny. All right. Love you, Sean. Love you, SRO. Hey, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. That was fun. I hope that was interesting and educational. Again, if you decide that you want to buy this microphone, I'd say it's worth it. I know for $188, I think it's a buy. If you need a backup mic, I'm going to use this now. This is going to be a secondary mic in my studio here. I will put my other Sennheiser microphone onto it. We will spend some time EQing it and tweaking it to get the best out of it. But this way now when I have an interview, if I have someone, a second person in here, I know that I've got a wireless pack that will work for that at a fraction of the cost of the Sennheiser, which is great. So that means that when I do get around to buying more Sennheisers, I can leave those in my to-go pack. I don't have to have them as part of my built-in studio kit here. If you're looking for an inexpensive mic, I think it's a great deal. I think it is. And if you want to enhance the microphone itself, buy a different mic itself to make that sound a little bit better, that's something you can certainly do. It does use a standard Sennheiser port on it. So yeah, not too bad. For the price, I think it's great. It is probably one of the better, if not the best, wireless, low-cost mic that I've tested. The other one that I did a whole, we'll link to this. I did a big, huge comparison of several different wireless mics. I've done a bunch of things, but the wireless mic one, we were comparing a digital mic to the Sennheiser to, was it another Comica? I don't even remember now. But another, this type of lower cost wireless mic, you should go watch that as well. I'm not gonna redo that test with this one, that's too much like hard work. But yeah, you can watch that as well. We'll link to that up there and down below. Okay guys, that's it. Take care of yourselves, everybody. I hope you had a great show and hope you have a great week. We'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.